Hey folks, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and I've got a light little knife here by HX Outdoors. This is the ZD-009B. It has a sibling, the ZD-009, that has orange G10 in here, and otherwise has the same frame shape and everything. And that one has got an all satin blade. This one you've got a coated blade, and then the major grind here is satin, so it's a nice saber grind. Nice hole here to lighten that up. A lot of skeletonizing around here. A carabiner clip. AUS-8 stainless steel. Very, very light little knife. Great for just putting into a lot of little places, but it's even got a pocket clip so you can carry it in your pocket if you'd like. Interesting knife. I've been enjoying this knife because the performance on it is quite good. So I encourage you to stick around and watch this review of the POKER. HX Outdoors has got all kinds of knives. This one might be a really good gift for somebody if you know somebody who's really into poker, because they've named the knife the POKER knife. On the back, on the pocket clip there, you've got the your different suits, your spades, hearts, clubs, and diamonds right there. They even put a little icon right there. Right there, you see that little pointy finger? That's to press into that. That's your liner lock. So you can go to close the knife. Most liner locks are exposed on the edge, but I really like the way they designed this so that this edge doesn't move at all. So you unlock it, lock it. When you're holding the knife like this, you're not impacting that liner lock arm and making it move and stuff. There's a lot of these sort of skeletonized kind of knives that are really light and small, where the liner lock arm is what you're actually pushing on with your index finger when you grab tight. And that can cause problems. This overcomes all of that by putting it inside the frame. Really good design, if you ask me. And then they have this sort of washer going over this pivot that functions as an over travel. You can't push it too far, but you couldn't anyways because you've got this other steel here protecting you. You can't just push it past. But sort of that's sort of double protection right there. There's no blade play here. Lockup is a little over halfway across. Nice and snug. Alignment, not a problem at all. We've got AUS-8 stainless steel here. Black coating for most of the places, except for where the saber grind has been milled out. It's sort of a forward finger choil there. You can just get one finger right there, your thumb up here on this little bit of jimping, and do a lot of delicate cutting if you need to. And that works just fine. Pinch grip works pretty good too. With this hole in here, you can get some good grip in there, some good purchase. It's got a bit of a clip point right here, almost like a spay point blade, not quite. I like this flat grind. It's done really well. This is G10 with a layer of carbon fiber on top of it. So it's supposed to be genuine carbon fiber, and I think it is. It really looks like it. And then it's just G10 on top of that. Torque screws all over. You've got a carabiner clip back here, which also functions as a bottle opener. You can click that on a bottle. If that's a bottle right there, you can click that on a bottle and open up this way. If the bottle's round like this, you go over the top on the other side and lift off that way. So you're lifting off the far side. Not bad. I like this thing. Let's give you the dimensions and specs. So this AUS-8 blade, it says AUS-8 right there, Rockwell of about 57. It has a cutting edge of 5.98 centimeters. That's 2.35 inches. Blade length, so from the end of the handle here to the tip of the blade, is 6.68 centimeters. That's 2.63 inches. The blade thickness is 2.3 millimeters, which is 0.09 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, I usually measure it about an inch away from the end of the blade here. 0.54 millimeters, which is 0.0215 inches. Really good thickness behind the grind there, so that edge is nice and thin. That's what makes this thing a really nice slicer. Works just great for that kind of action. The grip area back here, and I stayed back here, so below this pivot point to just about close to that screw there. 8.39 centimeters, 3.3 inches. The handle thickness, I'm not using the pocket clip, but I measured from the outside there, index finger to thumb right there, basically. 7.32 millimeters, that's 0.288 inches, so just over 1/4 of an inch thick right there. The total length with the blade deployed is 15.8 centimeters, which is 6.22 inches. It weighs 44 grams, that's 1.6 ounces. Very light little knife. How much does this thing cost? Well, it depends. You can get this one, or you can get the orange one. The orange one costs less. So I'll give you 2 prices for each. The first one will be this black one with carbon fiber, and the second price will be the orange. US dollars, $16.25 or $14.37. Canadian dollars, $20.95 or $18.52. Euros, $13.29 or $12.28. And British pounds sterling, $12.42 or $10.90. Not bad at all. The fit and finish on this thing is done very well. Nice lightweight knife. It feels really good in hand. You can do a lot of different grips on it. I really like, I'll show you the inside of the knife. I'll show you the washers in there. I like this blue anodized highlight of color right there. That's a really nice little touch. It doesn't overwhelm it, but it really helps set it off. Pocket clip is nice and light, and yet it's very functional. I'll show you how it works in a pair of pants, or how it looks very soon. The detent on the blade is very good. When the knife is closed, it takes a bit to make it open up. Like, you have to intentionally want to open it, so it works good that way. If you hung this on a backpack or something, I'm sure that it will stay closed, until you need to open it. And in your pocket as well, no problem that way. I like this little bit of jimping on the thumb rest here. Perfect, not too aggressive, just right. It's really good for light use. You don't want to do extended long-term use. These kind of skeletonized knives tend to get a little bit hot in the hand. Going over some more of the negatives. Actually, that's probably a positive that I'm thinking right now. I was thinking about, why is there a carabiner and a pocket clip? And now the more that I think about it, that's probably a positive, because you can choose which one you want. It's very easy to take this pocket clip off if you just want to use the carabiner. And if you want to use the pocket clip, the carabiner does not get in the way, as I'll show you right now. You got this pair of pants, and it just slides into there. You've got about a centimeter, at this high spot, it's about 1/2 inch, about a centimeter, about 0.8 of a centimeter, 8 millimeters. A little over 1/4 of an inch up to about 1/2 inch is what you got showing there. Not bad. You've got your poker symbol there. Not your poker. You got your card suits visible there. So anybody who sees that, who knows cards, and that's pretty much everybody on the planet, I would think, knows that that's a knife to do with some kind of card game. And it sits in there very well, nice and light. It sits in there easy. I'm a big guy, so I got a big watch pocket. It even fits in my watch pocket, or change pocket, whatever you want to call that. Yet, we were wanting to talk about negatives. So, it does get, I was talking about earlier, a little bit hot in the hands for extended use, because you've got this thin edge along here with nothing to back it up on this other side, and that's in your hand. So if you're cutting for a while, that does get a little bit warm, depending on how you're cutting. That'll determine on how warm it's going to get in your hand. And if it's going to get to the extent of calling it hot and uncomfortable, that'll really be situational, depending on what you're cutting and how long you're having to cut it. For just like EDC, for tiny little tasks that come up, no problem at all. But extended use, no, this is not an extended use kind of knife. The pivot is pretty good. I don't know if there was a pocket clip, if I could make it flip open or not, but you can open it with one hand if you need to. It's a little uncomfortable sometimes. You have to get used to it. Start with your index finger or middle finger, and you push the lock arm out of the way, and then you start folding it with your thumb, and then you finish it. So yeah, it's uncomfortable with the left hand. Can be done, and with the right hand, it can be done just a whole lot quicker actually. So there's no flicking it. You can't do that, but that's okay. It just depends on if that's what you want or not. If you want that, this isn't the knife for you. If you don't mind, that's just fine. I'm doing some positives now. So since it's AUS-8, it sharpens pretty well. You can even get a nice mirror edge on it. And I like this little blue anodized spot there. It's not over splashy or overdone. It's just a nice little bit of a look to the knife to help it look a little bit special. I like that it's lightweight. I like that it's got a good detent. I like that this thumb rest is at a good spot. I mentioned that earlier. And I like the little sharpener's choil that can sort of double as a sneak up right there a little bit. It's a good little knife. If you know somebody who is into poker, I'm not sure if this is going to help their game at all. It won't help them to poker. That's not a verb, is it? Whatever. But, it might be a nice little touch that makes their day. And since it's not super expensive, well, it all depends on your budget, doesn't it? It might be something that you might want to get for somebody. I don't know if I would recommend buying this now in time for Christmas, and I'm just being honest. If I wanted to push sales so that I'd get a little bit more commission, I would say, yeah, definitely do it. But I know that sometimes it simply does take more than 3 weeks to get your stuff. Sometimes it takes 4 weeks. Sometimes it takes 4.5 weeks. And so, we're getting right at that time now where December is literally just around the corner. And, it still is a good idea to buy this because if you want it, right? But don't count on it for definitely getting here before December 25th. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and all that other really good stuff that you guys do for me. Thanks for signing up to become a Patreon supporter, because if you are, you could win a knife. It won't be this one because this one's not expensive enough. Each month I will give away a knife that is the average price of all the knives that I reviewed that month. So it'll be roughly around 20 to 25 US dollars, maybe a little bit more. Maybe it's closer to 25 to 30 US dollars is the average price of the knives that I've reviewed in November. And so if you sign up very quickly now and you donate at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month, I'm not sure exactly what day they take it out, your name will be entered in for the draw. I've got 10 Patreon supporters right now. Thank you. You know exactly who you are, but I will list all the names at the end of the month, or the first video in December. I will list all the supporters that came in November. So thank you so much. If you don't want your name listed, please tell me. I'm going to assume that you're not going to mind if your name is listed. If you put your nickname in the notes on the Patreon support, I will use those names. And thank you so very, very much. Remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.